Ready, set, go. Hi, everybody. So today's little lesson we're going to do here is we're going to play with like rainbows. You know, it's that time of year. It's spring. We're getting outside. It's misty. Things like that. And to do that, usually what I do is I use HSB Color to do it. So we're going to very quickly here. I'm in P5 JS. I've logged into my account and gravel dinghy. What? No. We're going to do a rainbow example here. Now, what I want you to do with this is, and I'll just call this V1 because I'm going to want you to take it further and kind of go with it. But this very first version we're going to do is just going to be very linear, but rainbows aren't really so linear, right? They're kind of an arc going across, so that'll be the next thing that we use inside of it. But to start off, let's quickly give ourselves a little space here, do our standard, making sure we comment the end of our setup, and end our draw. Now this one's going to be kind of simple to start off with, so you may be able to kind of go back and do it, but if you don't listen, you may go to the end and be able to copy some of the code block off of it, but if you don't listen to the whole thing, you may not understand where I want you to kind of go with it afterwards. So what we're going to do at the very beginning section here is we can actually look at this in the manual and check. If we go to our reference real quick, we can see what our color is. So if we look under, actually I'm not even going to search that one, I'm just going to say HSB for my very, very beginning one. Did that give me one? No. So it is under that color, that top left one, there it is. So if we go to color, you'll see that there's all these different blocks, and what I'm really looking here for is color mode. So color mode is going to be the one where what is the default we usually use? It's red, green, blue, and all those values, if you remember, or look at some of the examples, they're all from 0 to 255, and we've done that a ton in the past. If we want something to be red, it's 255, comma 0, comma 0, and it's full red. In this case, instead of each one of them being a red, green, blue value, the HSB mode makes it so that the first number is what the color is. And so it's going to be somewhere between 0 and the 255 statement. And all of the values after that are hue, saturation, and brightness. And so that's how we're going to play with this and explore. To do this at the very beginning, we need to tell it that the color mode is going to be used as HSB. I'm going to leave it so that it's just full HSB when I use it. And we'll come into here. We'll say color mode HSB. It has to be all caps. You want to do that inside of your setup at the very beginning. So what are we doing here? We're doing a rainbow. Try one, I hope. Now, if I try to use any of those colors that I'm kind of used to doing or seeing, and maybe the best way to kind of do this is to make a nice line. And we can look at it just with the line. Let's do our stroke width up here. And we'll make our stroke width be something big-ish, like 13 maybe. And when I do my line, I'll just do a line starting from, oh, I don't know, over 100. See, I'm going to start from like over 100, and I'm kind of have it fade this way going across. So I'm going to have it just be like a line, line, line. So line on the left, and so I'll say 100, 100 we'll start with. And then I'll have it go to 100, comma 200, and semicolon. And I've already got an error. Stroke width 13. Reference not caught. Stroke width. Did I spell it wrong? What did I do wrong? Stroke. Just stroke. Stroke is going to give me the color of it. That's not really what I want. There it is. What is the stroke one I'm missing? Stroke weight. Weight, not width. Stroke weight. That's what it is. Ha-ha! There. Ooh, boy, that's thicker than I thought. But maybe not bad. Maybe not bad. Maybe go down to 11, just so I can play with a little bit of space. All right, so I've got my first little line there. What I want to be able to do here is just see how that color is being changed. So if I say my stroke, and I wanted to make, let's do an example where by commenting out my HSB. Let's do an example where I want it to be red, like I said before. If I run that stroke color like that, and I run it, I get that red line. But now let's turn on this color mode HSB, and now you'll notice that the color is like all the way towards this kind of darker color set. So that is partly because my hue and saturation here are super low. Let me turn these up to 255. So if there's no hue, if there's no saturation and no brightness, then it's going to be black. So if you're looking for a color now, 255 is going to be all the way at the end of the spectrum because 0 is really going to be my value. Now, a good way to kind of visualize this and play around with it is to use one of your built-in variables that you can adjust easily. Here I'm going to use my mouse X and I'm going to run it. And now as I move my mouse across, you can see it's kind of phasing through different colors. This might be something you want to kind of experiment with when you use your own color one. But here you can see it's going, it's switching. It kind of goes all the way to red, and then it goes through red again, and there's a purple. Now, why would it go all the way back to red? So part of the reason why this is that the values really only go from 0 to 255. And since my mouse way over here is probably around 300, when it gets past that last little purpley bit, it kind of goes back to there. If I were to print out what my mouse, and maybe that's what I should do, if I print out what my mouse value is, I say text mouse X 2020, and then I can just see what that value is. Here you can see that the value is actually past that. Once it goes past a number, it ends up looping all the way back around to red again. So you can see what its range is here. I think if you get to 255, you probably get to the right purple, and then it starts kind of looping back around. It starts fading into between purple and then red again, which is kind of nice. Like if you're looking for that kind of spectrum of color, it's actually pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and this kind of creates this funny little box around the outside here, which is kind of fun. But what I want to do here is I want to have a series of lines going across. So I don't want to write an individual line for each of them. So if I want to do a lot of one thing and have it kind of step over time, what do I use? I can't hear you. Of course, I'm referring to a for loop, right? You should have immediately said for loop when I mentioned that. So let's try that, and we'll change our location. And for now, I'll comment out my text, and I will make this be a value that I'm going to use. So I'm going to start off my for loop. And my for loop, to start off with, I'm not going to go a crazy big range, but I'm going to say var I equals 0, because 0 is going to be our red color. And then we're going to say, while I is less than, let's start off with 255. And then we'll say I plus, let's use a power of 2. We'll go like 32 for it. Plus equal 32. Oops, 32. There we go. So this is the beginning of my for loop. I want my line to be inside of that for loop. And I'll close it out here. We'll say end for. And now I need to use those eyes in different spots. Right now, it's all kind of in that same one, but I want to make it so it spaces out. So I'm going to say 100 plus, I don't know, let's do I times, is 10 going to take me too far? Probably. I times 5? No, let's do 12 because that's the thickness of our lines. So maybe we'll give a little bit of space there. So we're going to add a little bit to the 100. So I want each time that it goes through that for loop that it jumps over 1. So that's why I'm using I times 12. And maybe I don't need, you know what, let's just add that because I'm jumping already a value here. Let me see, what's that do? Oh, well, that works out perfectly fine. So here you can see now I've kind of got a rainbow going for it. And I could adjust a few things here. I could mess with my size of my color, size of my stroke. I could change what my step is here. I guess my step is working really well in this context. Here they kind of all pile up. And this will give me an ability to kind of get my full range for a rainbow. So all I'm using here is the stroke to do the color of each of the line, and HSB as being the way to do my color. So it's only being changed by this very first value. Now, I could, if I wanted to, maybe have them overlap a little bit and maybe give them a little bit of transparency or less brightness when they run. And if you do that, then you may get some other kind of blended colors that might look good. Let me see, does that do what I want it to do? Not quite. Let me get down to a smaller number maybe. And drop the brightness. You can see it a little bit on some of them, but it's not quite as light as I'd really kind of want it to go. Let me go down just to really low. Yeah, still not, because it's kind of getting amped as it runs over itself each time. Well, regardless, let's have you all first experiment with this. So take a moment, take a run at it, see how your colors and kind of things play, and then come back and you can check out the one where we're going to do it with an arc. All right? So take a break, catch up to this point, and then we'll start back at the arcs in just a minute.